Yes, everybody, welcome back to Talking Wolves. Welcome back to a brand new transfer news update video. Hope you guys are keeping well and safe. And things have finally started to pick up over the last few days or so in regards to incomings. And of course, this is Wolves, so outgoings are still happening as well. As always, going to keep you guys up to date with what's been going on, giving my thoughts on it. We have just kicked off our transfer podcast as well, which is going to be a weekly thing here on Talking Wolves. We uploaded our first episode of that this morning. They're going to be about half an hour long episodes available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and obviously YouTube. And just having me and Matt sitting down and having a sort of deeper talk and look into Wolves transfer news. So be sure to check that out. The first episode is out now, and obviously another episode will be out next week as well. But let's start off with the latest news. Firstly, Wolves on Friday did finally announce and release the away kit, which is available to pre-order, I believe, now. It's in this sort of bluey, green, turquoisey sort of colour. A lot of people comparing it to some of the older kits we've had in previous years, in the late 90s, and even probably the most recent one I can remember is actually we had an away kit very similar to this when we got relegated to League One. So hopefully this kit doesn't follow suit, but yeah, a lot of people liking the look of this one with some sort of geometric patterns. But Wolves continued a decent weekend as well. They had a behind closed doors friendly versus Burnley, a team that historically in the Premier League we haven't had much luck against, but we beat them 3-0. So Wolves continuing their strong pre-season form, beating Forest Green comfortably and then beating Burnley. Obviously we're going to step it up over the next couple of weeks with some tougher opposition. But Morgan Gibbs-White, Daniel Podence and Chiquinho scoring in that game. But unfortunately, we had some disappointing news, didn't we, yesterday on Chiquinho. And it was said that had a really solid game and one bad tackle. And unfortunately, Chiquinho has done his ACL, which means he could be out for in and around 6 months, which is such a shame because such a talented player, really kicked on towards the end of last season. I was really looking forward to see how he could do with a full pre-season at Wolves behind him. And now, unfortunately, we're not going to know that probably now until next year. So we do obviously wish him all the best and wish him all well with his recovery. I believe he's going into surgery next week for that. So we're talking about Burnley. Wolves apparently now are very close, or in at least in advanced talks for their first summer signing. It is going to be Burnley centre-back Nathan Collins. We've spoken about him before on the channel, spoke about him before on podcasts. We've bigged this guy up, and Wolves apparently are in advanced talks to sign him for in around 20 to 20.5 million pounds. A Republic of Ireland international. The deal is progressing really well. Negotiations are close to ending, and it's not quite done, but it's getting close, and you would assume that Wolves will want to try and get this done before the tour in the early part of next week. So Nathan Collins, centre-back, an area that Wolves have really wanted to bolster and strengthen. He could be, well, the first player that we bring in. Of course, if this move does happen, we'll do a full in-depth video on Nathan Collins. I'm aware that he's sort of only a player that's burst onto the Premier League scene in the last 12 months or so. So I know many of you may not have heard of him before, but an extremely talented young defender. So we'll keep our eye on that one. And there was more drama today. Morgan Gibbs-White, we spoke a little bit about him on the previous transfer video. We spoke about him on our transfer podcast quite in depth. Everton have had a bid of around 20 million plus add-ons. Some sources saying it's about 25 million in total. Wolves have rejected that bid for Morgan Gibbs-White. So 20 to 25 million pounds rejected, which is a decent sum of money. I'm really surprised at this. Wolves are obviously now apparently holding up to an overall package worth of around 30 million pounds. Morgan Gibbs-White, of course, some of you may well see the move to Everton as almost a sideways move, and I don't mean that in a disrespect to Everton, really. But with Morgan, like we said before, he has been disappointed with how Wolves have treated him over the last couple of years in regards to coming back and not getting game time. And he had a really good season. And now for the good of his career, he's going to stay at Wolves. He's going to be given the opportunity. Obviously, Wolves have offered him a new deal, or is he going to go to Everton and have a fresh start in the Premier League? His family and Morgan himself have got good relations with some senior members at Everton, such as Kevin Felwell, who used to be at Wolves, Gareth Prosser, who was such a big part of the youth system at Wolves a few years ago, has now moved to Everton as well. So there are figureheads at Everton right now that could convince Morgan to join. I don't think this will be the last offer Everton put forward. it'll be really interesting to see if Wolves do get what they want for Morgan Gibbs-White, because he's a player who's on a high at the moment. He's doing really well. I'd love to see him get a really good, fair crack of the whip at Wolves, but we'll have to wait and see. You'd hope that Wolves will get a replacement in if Morgan were to leave. Fabio Silva, we spoke a little bit about him on the last video. He's pending loan move to Anderlecht. Wolves are still hoping to get his contract renewed before he goes out on loan. Fabio Silva is happy to sign a one-year deal, but Wolves are really trying to push their luck and get the 2 years, if they can, a 2-year extension on his contract, which would take it up to 2027, I believe. Is that correct? 2020? Yeah, 2027. So we'll wait and see with what happens there. So still been rumours that it could get finalised today, but early part of this week, I would assume in the next couple of days or so, we may well see that move finally confirmed. Talking about a replacement for Fabio Silva, it was late on Thursday. Wolves were linked with another move for Benfica forward Gonzalo Ramos. Talented footballer, young player still, but broken into the Benfica team, scored goals at League and Champions League level. Wolves, apparently, according to some sources, are looking at a loan with possibly an option to buy, but Benfica are really holding out to see if they can sell him. They want big bucks. They were looking at 45 million euros, I've seen suggested. I don't think Wolves would want to spend or would spend that amount of money on Gonzalo Ramos. So it's gone quiet on that over the last day or so, but we'll keep our eye on that and see if anything progresses, because it's an obvious link. Bruno Lage likes him. Bruno Lage has coached him before, so we'll have to see what happens there. Another striker Wolves have been linked with, though, is the Genk striker Paul Onuatu, an absolute monster, a unit of a forward, 6'7". But Genk, the Belgian club, want 18 million euros. He's 28 years of age now. So again, I think that's probably a little bit too high for a player of his age at the current level that he's playing at. But some decent teams want him. Bayer Leverkusen have been linked. Atletico Madrid have been linked with him. A couple of teams in and around Europe are looking at him. So a very different option to what Wolves already have. Obviously, if Fabio Silva goes out on loan, we've got Jimenez. I've got a feeling Cutrone may well stay. It looks like he's going to be going on the tour in Spain next week. Paul Onuatu offers something completely different. So we'll wait and see with what happens on that one. Two players that have officially left and gone to the Wolves sister club, Grasshoppers Zurich, is Renat Datashov and Meriton Chobani. Surprised at this. I thought both of these players would be back out on loan, but I think there's been rules that have tightened up in regards to loan moves right now. So Wolves have sold these players on. No disrespect to Datashov. I think he's an okay player, far too good for 23's level, but I don't think he's good enough to be breaking into the Wolves first team anytime soon. Chobani's a disappointing one because he came from Bayern Munich with such high promise. I've caught him a few times and you could tell he's a very, very talented footballer. But unfortunately, a couple of major injuries for him over the last 12 to 18 months has really set him back. So it's probably the right time for him in his career, have a fresh start. I think he'll do really well in the Swiss League, and we'll see how he gets on. But all the best to Datashov and Meriton Chobani on their journeys. And another player that has left on loan is Lewis Richards, another player that is very rated pretty highly in the 23 setup. Had a loan move out at Harrogate Town last season and is returning there now for the new campaign, the 2022-23 campaign. So Lewis Richards has rejoined Harrogate Town. Guys, that is all for today's video. I'm sure there'll be many, many twists and turns over the coming days or so. But Nathan Collins looks like he could be Wolverhampton Wanderers' first official brand new player for the 2022-23 season. Let me know your thoughts on that, guys. And hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you do. And I'll see you all very, very soon.